Greetings, everybody. This is for my U.S. History 1 students. This is Concept 2 of the Declaration of Independence. So today we're discussing the structure of the Declaration of Independence. The Declaration of Independence has two main parts to its structure. First was the preamble, which stated that the theory of natural rights and asserted the right under certain circumstances of revolution. So this is the Declaration of Independence is an expression of enlightened principles as laid out by John Locke. So this is where it's going to go with this. First, the preamble states that the governments must rest upon the consent of the governed, for they are set up to protect their certain rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, as we're well aware of the phrase in the Declaration of Independence. The preamble continued by stating that, quote, governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, but the long list of grievances against the king was meant to prove that this case, the causes were oppressive and the Americans had suffered. A, quote, a long train of abuses and usurpations, which showed an intention to reduce them under absolute despotism. All right, so the Declaration of Independence is really going out of its way to make sure that it's understood that this isn't just a kind of a lofty goal and something that they just kind of thought up within the last couple of months. It's something that they give long consideration, and they understand that the British Empire has been long established, but they have violated natural law, universal law, and therefore they do not have the right to govern. Finally, the preamble pointed that they had more than the right. They had a duty to rebel, the Declaration of Independence would argue. The second part of the Declaration of Independence is a list of grievances, or a long array of abuses of power from which the colonists felt they had suffered. Although most of their quarrels had been with acts of Parliament, the list of grievances was directed direct at the present King of Great Britain. Jefferson deliberately did this, addressing it directly to the king. By attacking the king himself, the colonists were showing that there was no possibility that they could be persuaded to remain within the empire. In political theory, the king was the highest of the political authorities, and they were making it clear that they would not accept any British authority. In the list of grievances, Jefferson stresses George's interference with the functioning of representative government in the colonies, his restrictions on civil rights, and his maintenance of troops in the colonies in time of peace and without their consent. George was also held responsible for the many actions by subordinates that he never authorized, and for some of the things that never happened. So keep in mind the Declaration of Independence is a profound piece of propaganda, and so the truth can be played with in effective propaganda. In structuring the Declaration of Independence, it is apparent that the Continental Congress did not include blacks as members of society, obviously. One of the above-mentioned fabrication charges against the king was Jefferson's attempt to blame him for the existence of slavery in the colonies. Jefferson's effort to include the black man in the document did not meet with the approval of the Continental Congress, who cut the paragraph from the document because of its economic and social implications, right? Slave owners aren't going to go for that. I mean, Thomas Jefferson is a slave owner. He was very ambivalent about slavery. He didn't outright reject it, but he did question it. I mean, he was economically and socially benefiting from slavery, but he understood the moral implications from the institution. Here's the quote that was edited from the Declaration of Independence. Quote, he has waged cruel war against human nature itself, violating its most sacred rights of life, liberty, in the persons of a distant people who never offended him, captivating and carrying them into slavery in another hemisphere, or to incur miserable death in their transportation thither. This piratical warfare of The opprobrium and infidel powers is the warfare of the Christian king of Great Britain, determined to keep open a market where men should be bought and sold, suppressing every legislation attempt to prohibit or to restrain this execrable commerce. He is now exciting those very people in rise in arm among us, and to purchase that liberty of which he deprived them by murdering the people upon whom he also obtruded. So it's an attempt to blame King George for slavery itself, which is absurd, because slavery in the Americas long existed even before King George was a twinkle in his parents' eyes. So it was taken out. It wasn't taken. Well, it wasn't taken out because it was an outright lie. It was taken out mainly because the Southern colonists would not abide by an attack on slavery. So those are basically the two parts of the Declaration of Independence. One, an argument for independence and why it was necessary, and two, a list of grievances, right? So, and the list of grievances are basically trying to explain that this was not just some idle thing that they just concocted within a couple of months. Plus, it was directed directly at the king, saying that we will not abide by your authority. And this was done purposely by Thomas Jefferson. Anyway, that's Concept 2. Stay tuned for Concept 3. I'll talk to you guys later. Email me if you have any questions. Toodaloo.